Hey everyone, welcome back to the Network Fixer. Today, we are going to talk about a cybersecurity threat that has been gaining significant attention among security researchers, incident response teams, and Microsoft 365 administrators around the world. The threat is known as Kali365. If your organization uses Microsoft 365, Outlook, Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, or Exchange Online, then this is something you need to understand. Unlike traditional attacks that focus on servers, firewalls, or network devices, Kali 365 focuses on most vulnerable component in any organization, the human user. Even organizations that have multi-factor authentication enabled are not completely immune if users are tricked into interacting with malicious websites. In this episode, we will understand what Kali 365 is, how it works, why it is dangerous, how attackers steal Microsoft 365 accounts, how they can bypass traditional security measures, and most importantly, what organizations can do to protect themselves. So grab your coffee, sit back, and let's fix the network. Let's begin by understanding what Kali 365 actually is. Kali 365 is a phishing framework designed to target Microsoft 365 users. A phishing framework is essentially a toolkit that helps attackers create convincing phishing campaigns with minimal effort. Instead of building fake websites, login portals, and attack infrastructure from scratch, attackers can use a ready made framework to launch sophisticated phishing attacks. The goal is straightforward: steal user credentials, capture authentication sessions, gain unauthorized access to accounts, and ultimately compromise sensitive business data. What makes Kali 365 particularly dangerous is that it targets modern cloud environments where organizations have already invested heavily in security technologies such as strong password policies, multi factor authentication, conditional access policies, endpoint protection solutions, and identity security tools. Yet, despite all these defenses, phishing continues to be one of the most successful attack methods because attackers are exploiting human trust rather than technical vulnerabilities. To understand why Microsoft 365 is such a popular target, we need to recognize how deeply integrated it has become within modern organizations. Millions of businesses rely on Microsoft 365 every single day. Employees use Outlook for email communication, Teams for collaboration, OneDrive for file storage, SharePoint for document sharing, Exchange Online for messaging, and various business applications integrated through Microsoft Entra ID. A successful compromise of a single user account can provide access to confidential emails, business documents, customer information, intellectual property, financial records, and internal communications. In some cases, compromised accounts can even provide a pathway to administrative privileges. From a cybercriminal's perspective, compromising a Microsoft 365 account can open the door to an entire organization. Now, let's walk through a typical Kali 365 attack from beginning to end. Imagine you are an employee working in your organization. One morning, you receive an email that appears completely legitimate. The email may claim that your mailbox storage quota is almost full and immediate action is required. It may inform you that your Microsoft 365 password is about to expire. It may notify you that a secure document has been shared with you and requests authentication before viewing. The email looks professional. It contains Microsoft branding, logos, corporate colors, and polished language. There are no obvious spelling mistakes or grammatical errors. Everything appears genuine. Since the message appears trustworthy, many users naturally click the provided link. This is exactly what the attacker wants. Once the victim clicks the link, a login page opens in the browser. At first glance, everything appears normal. The page looks exactly like Microsoft's official login portal. The design, layout, branding, logos, and user experience closely resemble the real thing. The victim enters their email address and password, believing they are signing into Microsoft 365. However, the website is actually controlled by the attacker. As soon as the user submits their credentials, the attacker captures them. Years ago, stealing a username and password would have been enough to compromise an account, but today, most organizations have implemented multi-factor authentication, creating an additional security layer. This means attackers must overcome more than just passwords. This is where modern phishing frameworks such as Kali365 become far more sophisticated. Rather than simply stealing passwords, they focus on stealing authenticated sessions. To understand this, we need to talk about authentication tokens and session cookies. When you successfully log into Microsoft 365 and complete your multi-factor authentication challenge, Microsoft establishes a trusted session. This trusted session allows you to continue accessing services without repeatedly entering your password. Behind the scenes, authentication tokens and session cookies are issued to represent your authenticated state. If an attacker can capture these tokens, they may not need your password anymore. They may not even need your multi-factor authentication code. They can potentially reuse the authenticated session and gain access as though they were the legitimate user. This attack technique is often referred to as an adversary-in-the-middle attack. Imagine two people having a conversation. One person believes they are speaking directly to the other. However, an attacker secretly sits in the middle, relaying messages between both parties. Neither side realizes that someone is intercepting the conversation. The same concept applies to phishing attacks. The victim connects to what appears to be a Microsoft login page. Behind the scenes, the phishing framework communicates with the real Microsoft service. The victim enters credentials. Microsoft requests multi-factor authentication. The phishing framework relays the challenge to the victim. The victim successfully completes the authentication process. Microsoft then issues a valid authenticated session. The phishing framework intercepts the session information before passing the user through to the legitimate service. As far as the victim is concerned, everything worked normally. However, the attacker now possesses the session information needed to potentially access the account. Once attackers gain access to a Microsoft 365 account, several malicious activities may follow. Attackers often begin by monitoring emails and gathering intelligence. They search for invoices, financial transactions, customer communications, executive correspondence, and confidential business documents. In many cases, attackers use compromised accounts to conduct business email compromise attacks, commonly known as BEC attacks. These attacks are among the most financially damaging forms of cybercrime in the world. Attackers may impersonate executives and request urgent wire transfers. They may modify banking information in ongoing transactions. They may steal customer data, intellectual property, and sensitive business information. They may also use the compromised account to launch additional phishing campaigns against colleagues, partners, vendors, and customers. One common question is why these attacks remain successful despite widespread awareness. The answer is that attackers continuously improve their methods. Modern phishing emails are often nearly indistinguishable from legitimate business communications. Attackers carefully register domains that resemble trusted organizations. They replicate branding with remarkable accuracy. They send emails at strategic times when employees are busy or distracted. They exploit urgency, curiosity, and trust. They impersonate Microsoft, internal IT departments, HR teams, finance departments, business partners, cloud providers, and even senior executives. During a busy workday, even experienced professionals can make mistakes. Cybercriminals understand human behavior and exploit it effectively. Fortunately, there are warning signs that users can watch for. One of the biggest indicators is urgency. Messages claiming immediate action is required should always be treated with caution. Statements such as, "Your account will be disabled today," "Your password expires immediately," or "Your mailbox will stop receiving emails," are designed to create panic and bypass critical thinking. Users should also inspect URLs carefully before entering the credentials. If a login page appears unexpectedly or requests authentication when it should not, users should verify its legitimacy. Unexpected multi-factor authentication prompts should never be approved. If you receive an authentication request that you did not initiate, it may indicate that someone is attempting to access your account. Defending against threats such as Kali365 requires a layered security strategy. Organizations should implement phishing-resistant authentication methods whenever possible. Technologies such as Passkeys, FIDO2 security keys, and certificate-based authentication significantly reduce the effectiveness of phishing attacks. Conditional access policy should be configured to restrict access based on device compliance, user risk, location, and behavioral patterns. Identity protection solutions should continuously monitor for suspicious authentication events, impossible travel scenarios, unusual login behavior, and compromised credentials as well. Security teams should regularly review authentication logs and investigate anomalies before attackers can establish persistence. Security awareness training remains one of the most important defenses against phishing attacks. Employees should receive continuous education rather than annual compliance training alone. Users must understand how phishing attacks work, how attackers impersonate trusted organizations, how to inspect URLs, how to verify login pages, and how to report suspicious emails. They should also learn about multi factor authentication, fatigue attacks, session hijacking techniques, and social engineering tactics. Technology can provide strong security controls, but ultimately, users remain a critical component of organizational defense. In situations where a compromise is suspected, rapid response is essential. Security teams should immediately reset affected passwords, revoke active sessions, invalidate authentication tokens, review sign in activity, inspect mailbox rules, analyze file access history, and search for indicators of compromise. One commonly overlooked tactic involves malicious mailbox forwarding rules. Attackers frequently create hidden forwarding rules that automatically send copies of emails to external accounts, allowing them to continue monitoring communications even after passwords are changed. Thorough investigation and remediation are necessary to ensure attackers have been fully removed from the environment. Looking ahead, phishing attacks are likely to become even more sophisticated. Artificial intelligence is enabling attackers to generate highly convincing emails, personalized social engineering campaigns, automated phishing infrastructure, realistic voice cloning, and deepfake content. As attack techniques evolve, organizations must continuously improve their defenses. Cybersecurity is no longer solely about protecting devices and network. It is about protecting identities, educating users, monitoring behavior, responding quickly to threats, and maintaining a culture of security awareness across the entire organization. The story of Kali365 serves as another reminder that cybersecurity is a constantly evolving battle between attackers and defenders. Attackers adapt their techniques, and defenders must adopt their strategies. The key lesson is simple: never trust an email solely because it appears professional. Never trust a login page simply because it looks like Microsoft. Always verify before entering credentials. Always inspect URLs carefully. Always question unexpected requests. In today's cloud driven world, a single compromised identity can provide attackers with access to an organization's most valuable assets. Protecting identities has become one of the most important responsibilities in modern cybersecurity. Thank you for watching the Network Fixer. If you found this episode useful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to support the channel. Let us know in the comment section whether your organization has experienced Microsoft 365 phishing attempts and what security measures you have to defend against credential theft and session hijacking attacks. Also tell us which cybersecurity topic you would like us to cover next. Until next time, stay secure, stay vigilant, and keep fixing the network. Thank you for watching. You have a great day. Bye bye.